Let's do it. All right. And we're back. Let's go. All right. I can't tell if I feel like I'm really loud, but I can't really tell. I'm going to turn this down. There we go. All right. Perfect. Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody? All three. We are pumping today. 5. Wow. All right. We've got a doozy today. Not really. More boring stuff. I'm trying to see if my
Hello, my name is Ryan Ford. I'm a student at a specific school, but I'm not really supposed to be.
Cool. It works. Did you guys hear that? Live call-in works today. Maybe. Banners. Live call-in might work, might not work. All right. Now we're cooking. Good morning, Vicky. What's up? Sorry, Sean. What's up, buddy? How is your coaching endeavor coming along? Cool. Great. Perfect. Well, the live call-in works today. So if you guys want to talk some shit, cool. Semifinals are upon us. And we can always chat about whatever comes to mind. So let's go into, I wish it was a live leaderboard. That would make it so nice. Games.CrossFit. Not great. Oh, why not, buddy? How many people are signed up? I think that's the good question. Well, so Sean, can I talk about this? I think it's important. Or can I say what you told me or your goals? Yeah, that's what I was just about to talk about, Avera. I think it's not quite. I think it's over. I think it might be over 200 now. Good morning, Aaron. Cool. So, so Sean reached out to me and was asking about coaching and remote programming and things. And so, my suggestion was try to get on the floor. And so, meaning at the gym. So they don't have to have the need for another coach for you to start being on the floor. Just offer your time for free to join, to learn, to audit, watch, or even join in as an assistant. I think that would be your best bet. That way you can just start getting some reps. Good morning, Slater. Aaron, Avera, greet me. Say good morning first before you start spouting off drama. But I think that would be best. Sean, is to just, hey, can I just join some classes, on the coaching side to get some reps? That's it. And just start there. All right. So Avera says there's less than 200 people, male and female, signed up, which was something I was going to talk about this morning, which is very interesting. So 1,200 qualified from both. So 1,200 qualified, less than 200 are signed up, which we had John on last week, Monday, I guess, this week. Yeah, Monday. And he thought 600 to 700 would sign up. So with the way that this works, a lot will sign up. I think we'll probably get to the 350 to 400 mark. But it is. I don't know if it's a lot of business decisions because Gazan and Rolf, Rolfe, not Ralph. It's Rolf. I think some of them are business decisions, but I think a lot of them, they just know it's 11, right? So it's hard for people to mentally put themselves into a position. It's like, oh, well, no one's going to fucking make it. You know, I think it's definitely a, I think it's more money. I don't think it's just like the $20 again. But it is going to be a low number overall. I didn't think it would be a big number. I would have been floored if 500 people signed up. All right. So in the men, I mean, again, I think a lot more are going to sign up. And I think those are the only two that are out, and they're both doing WFP, right? And so we don't know who else is out yet, like that we assume might be in, right? Sounds like pretty much everyone else kind of will. I don't think there's any other rumors. Gazan being out. Gazan was also, I think, one of the first WFP signees, right? So I think she's really leaning to that. She also has a very good chance in, I think she's at TFX or NorCal, right? Let's see. TFX. Let's see. Zoe, J, boom. Chris. Emily Rolfe is also at TFX. Maybe she's thinking that she can go there, right? So if so since they're required to compete at WFP, if they competed at online semis, which is this weekend, WFP is next weekend, and then TFX is the following weekend, right? So there's no way they would die. No one would be worth a shit, right? So I think that's what they're leaning into, right? But James is going to. Is James part of WFP? Did James get a WFP? Do you guys know? I know you guys know better than me. Yes. Okay. So James is going to compete 3 weekends in a row because he's already on the leaderboard for semifinals. Right. So he's already Adler's there. I saw his name somewhere. So I mean, I don't know if it's a lot of decisions. I think the 1,200 people, like Gucci isn't doing the online semis, right? Like she just finished Wadlands. She traveled for 48 hours to get to the States, right? It's like she basically got it. We got in at like Wednesday at 5 a.m. from Atlanta. We would have had to sleep and then we would have had to start yesterday. It just would have been, I think logistically it's impossible, right? So, I mean, I guess it's business decisions, but I don't think it's going to be a lot of people. And they're competing in other places, right? Like it's not, I don't think these are, I'm not doing the game season sort of thing. So anyways, so I'll be going to TFX. I'm coaching this guy, Jay Cook. He's a buddy. Good dude, super fit. I don't know, I think he's Avera, I think this so well they're contracted to do it, right? So Avera says making CrossFit decisions around WSP is fucking insane to me. Sorry, but I'm not bought in. When I say business decision, I mean why other for the majority. Well, they're required. That's the point. They're paid. They're gonna make money. They've already been paid. They have a contract that they're required to do it, right? If you're one of the signed athletes, it's in the contract, you have to go. And so they're going to try to balance it out, which means that they can't do everything. And top 11 is really hard, right? Like they feel like they're more comfortable to go through TFX, or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the only, I mean, it really is the only thing, right? They're contracted to do it. And now John thinks, why bother for the majority, meaning the non-elite? Why bother for the majority, meaning the non-elite? So I don't know who you're referring to. Now I'm confused. You referenced Gazan and Rolf. They're signed athletes, but now you're referencing the non-elite. And why would they do WFP versus the online semifinal? I'm confused. All right. Vicky, I'm happy to have more CrossFit to watch. I think it's gonna be fine. I think this is part of the game, right? Like this is just, it's just a new thing. This is what happened in 2019 for sanctionals. I think it's okay. I think you have to choose. There's more, there's more things to decide, and I think it's fine. I think if an athlete competes at every single competition, then great, good for them. But I think this is just part of the progression of the sport of where it is, and we'll see how it goes, right? I I just, the biggest thing that I'm struggling with WFP isn't it, right? Like, it sounds like they're doing some shady shit, as we've heard in the CrossFit space, some sketchy things. But my biggest thing is the business behind a huge financial nest egg that is going to dry up. I just don't think they're going to make money unless they get some form of like crazy, crazy sponsorship, like a TV deal, like a huge fucking TV deal is the only thing that makes any type of sense to me. Sorry for not, all right, sorry for not being clear. Yes, there are some elites who are opting out for WFP. The majority are opting out because the tests are out of their reach. No, I don't think the tests are, they just know they're not going to be top 11, right? Like a lot of people just know they're not going to be top 11, or they're competing in other things and they don't want to waste the money in the weekend, because it's kind of a pain in the ass now, right? It's not just doing 5 workouts, it's getting 2 people the entire weekend. It's doing all the videos. Um, uh, and and so I think that's the difference maker there. Right. I think it's the challenge of, and I do think it's money, right? It's money on the board, right? And people's gung-ho-ness to just like do a lot of CrossFit and just throw money at online competitions is low, right? Only 11 are going to make it, and you can pretty much say who's going to make it, right? Like you could get really close. You know what I mean? Like, Dallin's gonna make it. Jeff's gonna make it. Haley's probably gonna make it, right? And so you really just like are starting to only have a couple of spots. And if the workouts aren't perfect for you, and if you're not in the top 100, you probably that you're not going to make it no matter what comes up, right? And so people care less about where they're landing on the leaderboard than they used to, right? People used to really care what that number next to their name was back in the day, 2011 to 2021. Like putting your name on the leaderboard, even the quarterfinal leaderboard, was really, really good. But this top 1,000 athlete, right? These athletes that actually made the top 1%, a lot of them are competing in other things throughout the summer, right? And a lot of them don't care about the leaderboard as much as they used to, right? I think the people that really care, they want to compete more, are the ones like the top 10% athletes, that 98. Oh, got some feedback going on here. There we go. Sorry about that. So okay. So yeah, so I think that's more so was it what it is, right? And I mean, I guess you could define that as a business decision. I don't know. Du says ask Kazan doesn't think Kazan thinks she doesn't have a chance. I don't get it. I don't think it's that. I think she is wants to do well in WFP. I think she feels like a good chance is to do very well in WFP, and she doesn't want to overcompete, right? So if she's only doing NorCal, it's a huge risk. Like Vicky said, do we think it's a huge risk? It's a massive risk. But I think a lot of the people there are going to be qualified that are in a spot. They still get 2 spots, right? Most of the people there are going to have qualified. Okay. Right. And a lot of people that are going to be there are just going to be there for the money because the prize purse is so big. So I think it's going to help middle a lot of people and put her towards the top because even the odds of 7 people being at NorCal that have qualified, I think are pretty high because it's a $30,000 price tag, right? It's a big first place prize. So when there's that many people, you don't have to win or get second. You got to get third or fourth or fifth or sixth. Okay. And it's going to help middle. It's going to help muddy the waters there. And it's going to allow for someone like Gazan, I think, to have a better chance than the online. I also don't think Gazan would do poorly on Isabel, as everyone thinks, because it's all power, right? Like it's not a snatch. It's not a full snatch, right? But yes, one bad event is out, right? Because there's going to be 300 people doing it. So that's what I think. Gazan, what's up, Kay? Gazan opt out. What were we talking about? WFP. Yeah, I mean, I get it, Avera, but there's the money on the line. There's guaranteed money and then there's not guaranteed money, right? And I think that is a really, really big driver, right? And so they're also required to do WFP. They have to prioritize WFP over the CrossFit games if they're not guaranteed, right? Also, we know the prize purse for the CrossFit games is a lot lower this year than it has been in the past because of signups. So it's not going to be quite as high as it has in the years past. Okay. Gazan is one of those athletes that will power all of them, mainly because she sucks at squatting, but she has the strength. She has the power in general. What's up, Holly? Good morning. So, Avera, I think you're just biased in general. I mean, okay, I don't disagree with you, right? But I also am. You have to define like their goal is again, it's change. It's not to be the fittest in the world. It's to make a living, right? Um, right, but it's more guaranteed money, right? So it's money, but it's not life-changing money. You're right, it's not, but it's more guaranteed money because they have a contract, right? Like they're required. Okay, we're just talking about the 30 that are competing or that are signed, the 20 from male and female. They are because that's the only one anyone cares about. No one cares about the other 10. Okay. We're just talking about the 20. They are required to do it. Okay. They're required to put on a show. They're required to be there, and no one wants to lose. And they feel like they can make it to the CrossFit Games in another avenue. Right. That's my opinion. I feel like I'm pretty accurate there. They feel like they have a good chance to make it at NorCal or TFX or Syndicate or whatever and not do the online semifinal. Or they feel like because we wouldn't be saying this, you wouldn't be saying it if they didn't sign up for Syndicate because they're already going to qualify, right? And so it's just an order of operations, right? So because the order is switched and they're skipping a certain event because they think they're going to make it at another event, if Syndicate was first and then affiliate semifinal was afterwards, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. And this is the statement. This is different than what you're saying, right? This is not the same thing. Avera says they're only in WFP because of what they've done in the CrossFit Game season. Putting the eggs in the WFP is short-sighted, 100%. But it doesn't matter because their fitness doesn't go anywhere. They can still come back to CrossFit with zero penalty, right? So yes, it is, because I don't think WFP is going to last. They have to have money. There's no money coming in, right? Even with sponsorships, right? Like, it's being funded with $15 million or whatever the prize, whatever the money, the nest egg is behind it. And they're going to realize that they can't rely on spectator ticket sales or YouTube dollars, right? Like, those things are not going to drive that money. They're going to need huge, huge sponsors and TV. It's the only way. The only way it's going to work is if they get a big sponsor. And I mean like a huge sponsor or a massive TV deal or some like docu-series or something like that, where people are paying out 8 figures, right, to cover it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen, but that's the only way. And so until that happens, then I agree. WFP is short-sighted, and WFP is very, very fleeting. Like, it's going to go away. Do I hope that happens? No, I want WFP to be fucking ginormous, just like I want CrossFit to be ginormous. All of that stuff is great for my pocketbook and the success of the functional fitness space and the CrossFit space, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Right? Do I think WFP is doing a good job of it so far? No, I think they're doing a really, really poor job of it because um uh because I think it's CrossFitters trying to run a business. And yes, obviously they have business people behind them, but I don't think I think they're um right, exactly. If they're not getting, yeah, exactly, Aaron. And again, it's all like it's all intertwined. Um but some people can really sell a concept, because if they get the deal, the views will come no matter what, right? So like if they get a huge TV deal because of the like the separation and the hype and all of the thing, it they could easily get the views on the backside of that, right? Like they could like, one doesn't have to come before the other, right? Like there are plenty of things that get big deals, right, before they even become popular. And the deal and the sponsorship and like that bit is what makes it popular, right? Like the Nano is a great example, right? The Reebok Nano, the shoe itself only became what it was because Reebok took a chance on it and they ran with it, right? And so then it blew up, right? So I can see something like that happening too, right? It wasn't like we needed a different shoe and then they made it, because there was all Innovate was already making shoes. They're first, right? There were already trainer shoes, right? And so it was a risk, and then it paid off for Reebok and it fucking saved the company, right? So I can see someone putting a lot of money into a TV deal or a series about it, following it, etc., and then it blows up too, right? I think those are very possible. Um, um, well, so clearly, Avera says clearly they cannot be both enormous because they're at odds, and only one depends upon the other for success. That's interesting. So the I think the more foundational statement here is they cannot both be they can, but they're only going to be enormous with the same exact crowd, right? They're only going to be enormous in the CrossFit ecosystem already. And the people watching this podcast and, the people that go to CrossFit gyms. That's the problem with CrossFit, is because it's so niche that people that don't do CrossFit don't watch it, right? And it was like, oh, I watch it, I didn't do CrossFit. You're an anomaly. It's not enough to make a difference, right? So that's the biggest challenge point is that people that don't do CrossFit won't watch it. Now, if a huge TV deal came up for WFP, hypothetically, and it got on, I don't know, like a streaming series, and there was like drama and hype, and they got, a really good whatever, like they were following a split between Live and the PGA or something similar to that, then people that don't watch CrossFit might watch this series, right? If it's done well enough and create drama, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. Again, I think that's the only way that the WFP becomes successful, right? The CrossFit Games is only successful via affiliates. WFP will have to be externally supported, in my opinion, because like they're just in like because Lavera said, there's not enough CrossFit people for both of them to have, you know, 20 events yearly, right? Because WFP, this is supposed to be their small year. And there's 3 events, right? 3 required events. And this is supposed to be their small year, and that's going to go up next year, which means that, so say they go to 5 and there's still 10 semifinals, right? So now we have 15 plus the games. That's 16 CrossFit events that are going to need fans in the stands, ass in the seats, money in hand, buying, etc., vendors spending money to go to sponsors, blah, 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 right? And that's going to be impossible, right? So it's going to, one's going to give. I assume it's going to be WFP. I hope it's not. I hope they find a way to do it, something, etc., you know, and whatever. Like if, yeah. So WFP is next weekend, Kenneth. Oh. All right. So, guys, super exciting news. So, Gucci is in town. My athletes did Wadlands this weekend, last weekend, and we're getting ready for NorCal, but she's staying in Pensacola. It's cool. I'm super excited to do the in-person coaching thing for a month. We'll see how it goes. I'm stoked. Had a couple room and board snafus. And we're working through that and getting everyone settled, but it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time, and challenging. All right, let's see. I think TFX has a good little group going. I'm excited to go to it. Ben is competing. Hope you guys watch. Ben has an elite team. Well, Ben is on an elite team. And I think it's going to be good. Here we go. Invited to compete. Let's go to this. Ariel, Hannah, Trista. I mean, this is a decent. I mean, these are all games athletes. Hannah's not. Trista's not quite yet. But all these athletes are all the way to Domit. Even though she qualified, she'll probably pull out. Gazan was accepted, or these are invited. No, we're not doing the online. I talked about it, Avera. So no, she isn't doing the online. She traveled from Wadlands last weekend to this weekend, and it just doesn't. She's not a top 11 athlete, nowhere near, and so it just doesn't logistically make sense financially to spend the money. She's trying to do the athlete life thing, and so any money we can save is great. And then also time of training, right? Like these workouts are a real beatdown, and we need to focus on, you know, getting ready for NorCal. There is a limit on competing. And so she's had to do all the qualifiers. She had to do Wadlands, French throwdown. Yeah, it is. It is a business decision, but it's not a business decision because she's not good at the workouts. It's a business decision, you know, because we want to do better we want to do better at another event, right? You're looking at it as people are like, oh, I'm just not good enough, right? And like, oh, I don't want to support it. It has nothing to do with that. We were going to do it, and and it just doesn't make any sense. Her name is Gudborg Valdismar daughter. I can't say her fucking name. It's like the most Icelandic name on the planet. I don't know, but she's like, her and her boyfriend are like 2 doors down. They're literally staying in my house sleeping right now. So logistically, it's been a grind. Had a place, fell through. Yeah. So they're staying at the house. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one for sure. Mm, no, but in-person competition, competing is more at the forefront of our goals and getting experience in semifinals. But theoretically, yes, like from a percentage point, NorCal is a better opportunity for her to potentially make some money. Um, and if two are going and the percentage of being closer is there and the options, especially for a lot of people, yeah, that's our chance. Um, so so there's like there's like there's like levels to this competing thing of era. And so the way that it works is like everyone starts usually at the same spot. Everyone kind of sucks. And so then they get good enough to like they become like the best person that didn't qualify for the next stage. Well, then you make the next stage and then you drop down to the bottom of the barrel again, right? And then you have to work your way up through the barrel. Okay. And working your way up through the barrel is tough, but you make yourself then you get to the top of this level and then you make your way up to the next level and then you're back at the bottom of the barrel and you have to keep doing that over and over and over again, right? And so that goes like very theoretically in the open, okay? And then it goes into semifinals and you drop back down and when you start working your way up and then you're in contention in semifinals. Um uh and then you make yourself to the games, but then you're back at the bottom of the barrel, right? Like Rory said years ago, right? You have no idea how fit you have to be the worst athlete at the games, right? And then you continue to work your way up over the years to potentially be a podium athlete or to be Tia Claire Toomey. And so there's always these levels, right? But within these levels, you can't just compete at everything because CrossFit thinks it's a great idea, right? Like I think the online semifinal is awesome. And if we weren't doing NorCal, then we would have done it. Right. But we did Wadlands. Competing 2 weekends in a row is stupid across all accounts. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. It's very dangerous. It's very risky, from a health decision, right? From a physical decision, mental, right? Especially going from Spain to the States, right? And then having to compete 24 hours later. It doesn't make any sense. Even if we had 3 times a better shot, right? Or 50% more of a shot to make it. After traveling like that and competing for 3 days, even though the events weren't that hard, it's still intensity. It just would be irresponsible, right? So similar to Gazan. Gazan doesn't want to compete 3 weekends in a row. It's a really good way to get hurt, right? Or it's a really good way to show up at 50% intensity all 3 weekends, right? And people just don't want to do that. I don't know what you're talking about. Avera says, sorry, CJ, I'm having a hard time with this money thing. Unless you win, it's not life-changing money. However, doing well in this across the season buys you experience and more. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm not saying that's the case. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. Anyways, Jonathan, we went through like a version of the 30-minute AMRAP yesterday. As part of training. But we put different parameters on it. And so again, they had been up for like almost 48 hours of traveling. So what if you have the best doping? Yeah, I mean, if you got Trish, what if you have the best doping possible? And if you got a lot of drugs, it's very doable for sure. We don't have access to those kind of drugs though. Unfortunately. I mean, we probably do have access to them, but I don't know. Gucci won't take drugs, so there we go. She's honest and morally sound. So, um, so anyways, yeah, just shaking it off. And so we're gonna use a lot of those workouts and just kind of work through some of those pairings, just because I think they're great training tools if you adjust them accordingly. So, are you talking about her or me personally, Trish? What workouts have you been doing? She just got in town. Yesterday was our first training session. And so we're doing some heat acclimation since NorCal is going to be outside 100%. Florida's really hot right now. So she will be doing a lot of outside running. We're going to do some trail running, a lot of it over the next month. Me personally, let's see, what did I do? I did the .com workout from a couple days ago. It was this was yesterday. All right, I did this one. Nope. I did Mondays, which was 3 rounds, 40 burpees, 200 double unders. It really sucked. I did it in, I didn't beat this guy. Oh, maybe I did. It was like 15, I don't know, 30 or something. It was hard. My, so I did this. Let's see, that was yesterday. What did I do the day before? Then I did class. Class was 4x12 strict press, which was brutal. And the workout was 40 cal row, 20 dual hang dumbbell power snatch at 50s, 80 double unders, 20 dumbbell hang power snatch, and then 40 cal row. And I pushed the intensity there. Felt pretty good there. And today I'm going to do an inspired, like the back squat muscle up piece from the games. I'm going to do like 1 strict muscle up, 3 back squats for like 15 minutes or whatever the AMRAP is. And then maybe I'll put in something, maybe like I don't know, 5 shuttle runs or something like that in between. And I'll probably just do that. And I'll probably do back squats at like, I don't know, 225, but I won't increase the volume. Like I'll just do 1 and 3, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Avera saying making decisions around money in CrossFit is a dead end road. I mean, oh, Tim does our program. Let me see what it is. I can't remember. Oh yeah, we did this. That was a good one. I gave this to a buddy. This is a good one. I might do this one. I don't like to do, this is WODprep training today. Tim Tam. It's every 3 minutes, row, toe to bar, power clean. I actually might do this. That actually probably sounds maybe a little bit better. I always feel funky doing high volume power cleans, mainly because I just don't like receiving the bar on my neck so many times under a lot of fatigue. 60 power cleans. So maybe I'll do like a power snatch. I don't know. Let's see. This is a tough one. It's really, really hard. Looks like a lot of people aren't making it. Yeah, it's a tough one. Maybe I'll come in there and sow my royal oats for the group. What do you think, Tim? I actually don't know if I can complete this under the cap the whole time. That's a lot of toes to bar. Maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that today. What do you guys think? Should I do this? See if coach can make it? I think Orlando wrote this. I didn't write this training piece today. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. That probably sounds a little bit better. I need a squat though. I need to make sure my little leggies don't go away. I wear short shorts, so I got to keep my thighs. I got to keep them good. All right, crush it, Tim. Tim's such a solid dude, guys. Such a good guy. All right, what else? A lot of double unders. That's a tough one. Agree, disagree. I think. Well, I mean, so making money decisions. So Does it seem weird to ask? All right, I'm going to table this. I'm going to answer Vicky's question. Genuine Masters athlete question. What is the reality of someone coming into CrossFit later? And literally every single Vicky asks, what is the reality of someone coming into CrossFit later in life and actually making it to the games as a Masters athlete? Well, since CrossFit's only been around for 20 years, and really most people have only been doing CrossFit about 10 years, the answer is it's the only reality at this point, right? It's the only reality for Masters athletes in the 50 or higher. Okay. It's like anyone 50 or higher, right? Besides maybe like a one off, everyone came into it later in life. And a lot of the females came into it with zero fitness background, right? So, I think it's the reality is the only reality that there is. Now, I'm not saying it happens to everybody, but everyone that makes the CrossFit games in the 50, 55, 60, 65, and 70, um, then uh, they came in later in life. Half the athletes that I've coached at the CrossFit Games started CrossFit at 50. Because I've coached, I don't know, 6 60-year-olds, 4 65s, no 70s yet, 10 55s. So all of them came in around 50. Every single one. I think you should do test 4. Oh, no. I don't have that kind of intensity. I don't know if I'd make it. I mean, I probably would make it. But I wouldn't get that many burpees. I wouldn't do that well. I would do better on workout 5. Just because there's so much strategy involved and not slowing down on rope climbs. My rope climbs aren't fast, but they don't get slow. I would do better, relatively speaking, on workout 5. I don't like putting myself at like a full red line anymore, like that kind of sprint. And then it's also, again, a lot of clean and jerks. I just feel so sketchy receiving cleans on my neck for a ton of reps and a ton of volume. Not that I won't do it. Maybe I will, because I'm probably going to have Gucci do it. So it could be um, a good tester. It's a tough one. Like there's going to be a lot of fit people that end up getting capped. Like at the end, right? Like after round 3, it really doesn't matter. It's about round 4 and 5. Whoever can sustain a close, yeah, this is also the other thing. Like this pain cave going full red line hurts. I've tried to push it there and I don't want to, says Jonathan. It hurts now, right? Like I did Kelly last Friday. If you guys don't know what Kelly is, it's 5 rounds, 400-meter run, 30 box jumps, and 30 wall balls. And it's just grueling. It's hot. I just committed to going unbroken on the wall balls, and I couldn't work for the rest of the day. I was just smoked. I didn't even have that good of a time, right? And so I just, man, I don't know. I don't know if I have that in me anymore. You have to have a really big want to like hurt that bad. And I still hurt for sure. It's the only reason why I can push in some workouts, but um um Sterner wins. Avera, I want you to call a win of someone else. That's probably a good guess. His burpees are good. Um, I think it really comes down to who can stay the fastest on the clean and jerks for those 10. Like, I think that's going to be the big separator. Obviously, the burpees is the score. But I think it's who can be the most efficient at the clean and jerks, like when you get tired. Everyone's going to run the 10 shuttles about the same, right? Because it's only 10 off of a minute rest, but it's who can basically come in to keep those clean and jerks in that 30-second range with singles or some touch and go. Um, so yeah. It's going to be tough, but I think that's a good. Is Sterner signed up? I don't even know. He is. Of course he is. Of course you know. Avera, you should come on the show. You seem like you have a lot of random knowledge about the leaderboard. I've heard some scores of like normal people doing some of the workouts, right? You saw John and Tyler do workout 1. Workout 5 is nasty. It's gonna hurt really bad. That's interesting. Bethany Flores is signed up. Good for her. Oh, sorry. Amy Kringle, Rebecca Fuselier, who's doing TFX, Olivia Kerstetter, Carolyn Prevost, Gracie Walton, Trista, Paige Semenza, dude, Slater, shut the fuck up. This, if you want to really get me going, bring up that fucking Instagram and those ridiculous posts. Dude, you want to talk about the biggest waste of time ever. Oh my God. All right. Fucking PRI and red light therapy to fix a back. Mind blowing. There's not a lot of names on here. Not really. But again, a lot of people will sign up during the weekend. They'll just put their name in. They're planning on doing it. They'll just sign up on the weekend. Ariel Sanders. Who's that? Oh, I thought that was. Anyways, Erica Folo. Sarah Sigmund's daughter. She'll make it through Rebel Games, though, for sure. Annika Greer. Caroline Stanley. Kyra Milligan. Yeah, Christine. That's funny. Just making her come back. Anyways. All right. So does red light therapy not work? So red light therapy works no better than the sun. Okay. It works the same as going to sit out in the sun. Red light therapy is supposed to improve cellular regeneration, right? Like that's like the gist, the general gist of it, right? Okay. And the research is fine. Okay. All right. But the problem is if we go to like specifically, whoops. All right. What it does, cellular energy, right? Blah, blah, blah. Collagen production, reduce inflammation. Okay. So this is what it claims. All right. And it does, like the research is like, okay, it does do some of this. But the problem is it doesn't do it any different than the sun. And the sun actually does it better. So just go sit outside for fucking 10 minutes in a bathing suit and it's going to do the same thing. But doing red light therapy inside of a sauna, this stuff, it doesn't work, guys. Sauna is great. Everyone should sauna. I think sauna is awesome. But putting red light in there doesn't do anything. Or putting the laser or the red lights like specifically to an area of knee, like not like a macro biased thing, but like a very narrow window, like pinpoint. It just doesn't do it. Okay. It's fucking annoying. Like, guys, if your shit is fucked up, okay, back, knee, core, whatever it is. No, Avera, but I'm referencing some like specifically to red light therapy. What it does different than the sun is nothing. The sun does everything it is saying. I don't think either of them cure back pain. Okay. I do think that there is probably some correlation to like outside exposure and grounding to like healthy living and all of the other things, right? Like to say that if you never get any sun to getting some sun probably doesn't support reducing inflammation. That's probably not accurate, right? Like we know sun exposure versus like sitting on the couch all day, being outside, you know, um, I think that they're very beneficial to like gross hormones of the body, right? So I would say it's probably not as bad, but in this specific example, I'm referencing it to red light therapy, and red light therapy does nothing different than being out in the sun. But using red light therapy to cure pain is absurd, right? It's all subjective. Anything that you put into the body to help with pain usually works in some capacity subjectively, right? Because it's doing something. So you're starting to set a predictive processing response, right? Oh, I believe in this because some fucking famous person does it. So I do it. Thus, I feel better, right? So we call that a post hoc fallacy, right? And so all that means is here, we'll just fucking make sure that I can define it well, right? So basically, it's just an error that assumes there's a relationship between two events because one occurred after the other, right? So this is where PT. This is why physical therapy is such a successful like thing for a lot of people. Um, uh, uh, is that a lot of people come into PT with pain, they go to PT and then they leave PT without pain, and so they've created this causal relationship that PT is the main thing that removed their pain, and it's never the case. There's a huge plethora of variables that have taken into account time, beliefs, the PT itself, and so think of it as more like a pie with a bunch of slices that are influencing pain, right? It's like something like red light therapy. It's like, oh, I've had knee pain for a couple months. I've been doing all this stuff and it's not really getting better. But then I did red light and then it was better all the time. But, you're not taking into account the fact that you've done 3 months worth of rehab or it's been 3 months. So you have regression to the mean, you have total time. Um, uh, um, you know, uh, and so all of those other natural healing concepts play a role. And then one thing might have like took you over the edge, or it was around the same time that you did that. And then that post hoc ergo proctor hoc fallacy, post hoc fallacy is then related back to this one thing when it was a whole broad spectrum of things. Right. So that's the gist, and red light therapy is very, very, very in that realm, kind of like acupuncture, right? Or even PT, right? Or a specific style of physical therapy. So, um, but yeah, Ortega, it's actually perineal sunning is the only way for your foot to heal. Okay, so every day, 20 minutes, you can get ass cancer. So, anyways, this is coming at the back end of Bethany Flores' stuff. She does PRI, which is um, uh, Postural Restoration Institute, which is like, I don't know, the worst rehab, basically relaying all pain and injury to like how you breathe and nothing else. And so she does like a lot of breathing into balloons and bracing and like isometric, like rotation stuff. And it just, a lot of post hoc fallacy. I've never met anyone that did PRI that got out of pain that didn't have to keep doing PRI forever because that's what they were told. And so it just kind of like it sort of relays, sort of like chiropractic care, right? Like not all chiropractors, but ones that manipulate. They're like, oh, you have to come in to get your maintenance because you're gonna like slowly get out of alignment over a couple of weeks, and I have to realign you, and then that's how that works. And so, which isn't the case, by the way. If you go to chiropractic care and you like it, that's great. But just again, all of this is based on reliance, right? Like, should you do red light therapy? You probably don't need to, but if you feel like it works, great. You can do it. It's not a big deal. If you like chiropractic care, you should do it. If you go to a PT that you really like and you get manual care, all of these things are fine, right? We know that they have some influence subjectively, and that plays a role, and that's really, really important. The problem with all of this stuff, okay? All right. The problem with all of these um, passive interventions, okay, and now we're way in the weeds, is that when you become reliant on them, they are no longer beneficial to your life and your success moving forward. Okay. Right. That's when the change happens and that's when the problems occur. Right. It's like wearing a belt. Like wearing a belt for a heavy back squat is great, but wearing a belt for 5 rounds of 10 deadlifts at 60% of your weight is not great because then we become reliant. Okay. Right. Oh, I can't snatch without my lifters. Well, you're going to fucking run and snatch at some point. So you got to learn how to do it without them. Right. Oh, I can't squat without my knee sleeves. Why? Because my knees hurt. Well, is that's not a good thing. Right. We can't always squat with our knee sleeves. Right. Like what happens when you got to bend down and pick up your kid? Right. So I think passive interventions have their place, but when they become basically reliance to get you to baseline, that's bad, right? We never want to rely on anything to just reach our daily baseline of life, activity, training, etc. We should be able to do that with natural things, right? Food, sleep, training volume, time, water, training selection, right? Like those things are the only 5 things that should really dictate what did I say? Sleep, food, sleep. Yeah. Food, sleep, water, training styles. Um, um, yeah, and so when we start relying on other things to just get to our baseline of training or life or daily whatever, then that's a bad thing, right? You shouldn't rely on caffeine to be there. I do. But that's a bad thing, right? But you know, um but like that's a negative. Like that's a net negative is when we have to rely on anything besides like our base levels of things to like reach training, right? So like Bethany only being able to train with doing fucking 2 hours of PRI and red light therapy every single day, like that's not a net positive. Um Havera, I make my own turmeric and ginger shots every day. That actually sounds pretty good. You can send them to me. Why? No fucking idea. Feel the same with or without them, but I like the shots. Yeah, it's good, right? And then the research shows that they have like anti-inflammatory properties, right? And so it's good. But if like you're like, oh, I can feel when I haven't taken my turmeric today, like when people say shit like that, I'm like, you're full of shit, right? Or when even so this is like something I came across a long time ago. It's a book. Um, um it's called um Kindle, no, book, Audible. Oh man, it has to download. It's called. Well, I know you guys have heard of The Obstacle is the Way, but it's sort of like this, right? It's kind of similar to The Obstacle is the Way. Um, Man, god damn it, I have to log back in. Ugh, there we go. Come on. Um, it was like one of the first books that I read as a business owner. It's called Anti-Fragile, okay, by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, okay? Anti-Fragile. And so the theme of the book was that when we rely on anything too much to be our baseline, then it's not ideal, right? So even like a someone who's really regimented in their food, right? In my opinion, if you're so regimented that as soon as you, as Aaron says, he relies on sugar. So as soon as someone who's like counts calories every day or whatever, they eat a donut and then they feel terrible. I'm like, are you really that resilient to life? Like, is what you're doing that good? Right. Or like someone who's like, I get 10 hours of sleep every day, but then the one time they get 6, they're like, I can't do anything. Are you really that resilient? Are you really that great of like a, you know, like a alpha human or whatever you want to define it by? And so that's something I've really lived my life by. I've done a lot of like different directions in life, right? Like I've gone, like different diets, and I've done different sleep habits, and you know, like the biggest thing is basically like I've been able to operate at a pretty high level for a really long time on very little sleep. Like for most of my college, I was like in the 4 to 5 hour range with some naps. Same thing through PT school, and really the same thing through early business. And people are like, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, well, I don't have a fucking choice. This is part of my life, right? Like it just is what it is. I have requirements that, I have to do X, Y, and Z every day. And so they get done. And then that's where my sleep comes in. And so, like I've learned that that's probably not the best case. And sleeping more is really important for dementia prevention and Alzheimer's prevention, et cetera. And so I try to work more now. But if it's like, like I went and picked Gucci and Jan up in Atlanta at midnight. It's 4 hours away. We got home at 4 o'clock. Okay. We got home at 4. I went to bed. I got up at 8, and then the day started and I was fine. Right. Like, I mean, I wasn't like rocking whatever, like it wasn't my best day, but I was totally fine. Some people are like, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, it's just not an option. I'm fucking not a little, I don't know. I'm not a little bitch about like eating poorly. Right. Or like not sleeping great or whatever it is. Right. And so kind of coming back to, the, um, like the training tools or passive interventions for rehab, when you're relying on stuff like that to just reach baseline, you're not a resilient human, and this is not beneficial to you anymore, right? um oh, where I was going with that story, why I brought that up, was I used to do the manual care thing with teams going to regionals in the games, etc. And I remember going out like the night before they started, right, to get some food. And I had a beer. I wasn't competing. And they were like, oh, I haven't had a beer in months. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, if I have a beer, I can feel it for 4 days. Mind you, this was like a 23-year-old. Okay. And the statement they made was, oh, if I have a beer, I'm terrible for 4 days. And I'm like, is that a good thing? Like, are you that resilient of a human that like your regiment is so specific that if it breaks at all, you're fucked? Does that make it a good regiment or not? Right. We'll end on that question. Um, sorry, Andrew, we won't get to picks. Not my thing. I'm not like a picker in general. So like if your regiment is that strict that you can't break for a day, is it a good thing? Right? Like, is that benefiting you in your life? To me, it's no. And it doesn't have to be to alcohol. It can be to whatever, right? I have another athlete right now that I just started working with, and she's got the flu. And she's like, can I do like a little bit of bodybuilding tomorrow? I'm like, no, you can't, because you're sick. Like you're sick. Right. And, um, and she's like, oh, but I feel like I'm going to lose muscle mass. No, you're not. You're not going to lose muscle mass. Right. Just like if you broke, like those things don't happen. I think, like, discipline is freedom, which is great. I think that's really, really important. But I also think that putting yourself in situations regularly that maybe like alter your conveniences in life are really important too, like regularly, right? And so the main theme of the book is sort of that, right? Like consistency breeds volatility, I think is like the theme of it, right? Um, and so you want to make sure that your lifestyle doesn't make you volatile to change, right? And when you rely on passive interventions like that, it does. Um, Um, being young is a hell of a drug, and I'm 34 now. I'm not old by any means, but I've had this same mindset since I was 25, and even before, right? And I think that mindset, Andrew, being young is hell of a drug, and that age is the only predictor and dictator of like your ability to be not volatile to change is a um is a poor mindset, right? Sure, those things do happen. Um uh but I think that people they become like reliant on statements like that. It's like, "Oh, I'm old now, and so, you know, when X, Y, and Z happen, like I just don't recover as fast." And it's like, maybe, or you've just fucking convinced yourself that that's the way that it is, right? So, anyways, um, uh, I guess I'll change the more semifinals talk to um, anti-fragile. Yeah, anti-fragile. Oh, should I put red light sucks? Red light therapy sucks. We can really start to you guys got to help me. You guys got to help me change and rework um the title before we end the call, right? Cuz I don't do a good job of that. Um but we got to start I got to start doing the I got to start changing the title and get people to watch it after it's live. So help me with that. Help I'm giving the chat a job. Yeah, the I'm old stuff is such an excuse. Guys, I've coached 68-year-olds at the CrossFit Games. No one fucking watching this has an excuse. So, all right, I got to get everyone up. We got to get head into school and stuff. And yeah, thanks. That was a good one. That ended it really good. It was kind of slow, and then good questions. The chat, you guys always keep it fire. Um, and yeah, enjoy the day, crush it, enjoy watching semifinal videos that are going to be made public. Um, and yeah, we got excuse me, a lot of CrossFit, right? Next weekend is French Throwdown and WFP. The following weekend is TFX. I think the following weekend is Rebel Games. And the following weekend is Syndicate. And then the following weekend is NorCal. So it's like 6 straight weeks of CrossFit competition. So tune in, right? CJ's excuses not to the online semis. Yeah, sure. All right. Yeah, a lot of CrossFit. Watch it. We want the sport to live. Put eyes on all the YouTube streams. Enjoy the day. We'll see you guys later. Peace.